Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Thank you all for everyone who's staying. This is going to be an amazing interview as well. Please welcome to Business for the Culture, Monica Wheat. She is Techstars Managing Director in Detroit. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Before we start, we've been kicking off today because it's the weekend, Monica.
Yes.
We just want to know what mood, what's your mood for today? We just got to know your mood. We started out listening to a little Beyonce and Jay-Z, so we just got to know your mood.
That's like I said, that's one of my favorite songs. I think my mood is all positivity. The weekend's here, as you said. So I'm looking forward to the being out in the sun and just getting some stuff done.
Yes.
Oh, being out in the sun. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I've been excited about when your office reached out to have you come on and talk about what you're doing. We often talk about what's going on in Black investments, what people can do to start businesses. So I was so excited to learn about this partnership with JP Morgan, Techstars, JP Morgan, to invest more than $80 million, y'all, $80 million in diverse entrepreneurs and founders. Who in the room? You're a founder, you got your own business. This is the part we're trying to bring you some money. We talked about advertising. Now we're going to talk about bringing that money in, right?
Absolutely.
So tell us about this new partnership.
Absolutely. So the JP Morgan Chase partnership is something that we've been working on for a while, that we're super, super excited about. It's in 9 cities. The first 5 are launching this fall. And we are going to be recruiting approximately 12 companies in each of the cities that are launching with us. And so Detroit is one of them, and I'm the lead of Detroit, but we are also launching in Miami, in Atlanta, in Chicago, in Washington, D.C. And in all of those places, we are bringing the power of the Techstars network, which we're an investment network. We invest in companies and try to help them scale with the backing of JP Morgan Chase, and them having already gone to their investors to bring on as many folks interested in these markets and in helping underrepresented founders in these markets. So it's a really, really great partnership of just access, opportunity, breaking down barriers, and helping folks create wealth. And I think all of those things are things that I'm about. So I'm super excited to be a part of it.
Can you tell us what's unique, what's a little bit more unique about the network? Now, you guys have been around since 2006, and so far you've invested close to 3,000 companies.
Yes.
With what is the market cap? $159 billion.
Wow.
Like, there's got to be something so unique about the strategy that you guys have. Can you tell us about it?
I think that's why I think we were a really ideal partner for this. It's the power of the network of Techstars. That is our I think our number one quoted thing is the power of the network. It's not just the 3-month accelerator that folks go through. It is also this what we call Techstars for life. And so our network is vast. And so we have 3,000 companies, which is about 7,000 or so founders. We have approximately another 7,000 that are pure mentors. And that's one of the keys is one-on-one mentorship. We have about 17,000 investors in our network. That's key because that's a huge part of like getting folks to get these deals. Our geographic footprint. We have 41 cities thereabout around the world. I think it's in 16 countries I saw at one point. And I think across all those spaces and places, it's about the power of this network. And so one of the things I tell I just closed a class in this past fall. And one of the things I was telling those founders is like, so now you're raising your round, you're trying to get business deals, you're trying to you're going to all these cities and places. You can go to the Techstars office in that city and you have a place to work. You have people who will advocate on your behalf. You have people who will connect for you. You'll have people who will be glad to see you and are excited to show you what they're doing and excited to learn what you're doing. That's huge when you're building a business. So for us, geographic footprint, our network, our very small class size is another differentiator. We only are 10 to 12 tops in each class. And then our model. Our revenue model, we have an operating business, which we bring on lots of corporate partners, lots of government entities, things like that. But that funds these kind of broader teams in portfolio services and accounting and finance and things like that help these founders launch their businesses.
I want everyone to make sure you go to Techstars.com. That's TECHSTARS.com. Look, you got someone sitting in front of you right now. I suggest if you have a question, it is hard to find someone when you're trying to launch your business and you're looking for money. This is the perfect opportunity before we end the broadcast in a little while for you to ask Monica questions, because she's here to help and to answer. Please go to the website, follow her, stalk her.
No, we didn't. No,
don't stop. Don't stalk.
Don't stalk Monica.
Don't let that be your mood. Don't let that be your mood. Don't do that. I'm sorry.
We don't want you to. But do reach out and do learn more about it, because you know what? I had the pleasure of speaking with your Chicago managing director a few weeks ago. And so one of the things Neil was talking about is how you guys are very strategic around the cities that you chose for this partnership. Can you tell us why you chose the cities that you chose?
Yeah, absolutely. So number one was ROI. We're investors. And so we're looking for cities where we think we can get the best return on investment, the networks that are there, the ecosystem that are there, and the talent we think will be there. So that was part one. Part two is the focus on diversity. Definitely looking on places where there's mass amounts of the markets that we're targeting. We're looking for underrepresented founders. Detroit in particular is the largest majority minority city in the U.S. But we also have very close followed by Miami and Atlanta and D.C. in different demographics. And then third, it's business objectives. And so we have a pretty broad plan of growth that we're looking to do from a Techstars perspective over the next few years. But in general, also JP Morgan, their footprint, I've worked with them before in Detroit and in other markets too, but their footprint for advancing Black pathways and advancing cities and things like that also perfectly matches these cities. So it was a combination. It wasn't just like one thing, but it was a combination of these cities having all of those ingredients and being great places to look for this talent and to help develop it.
We have a few questions that are getting to come in. Let's see. Brand, I believe it's Founder's Journey, says, what types of business are the focus, the profile of the ideal business?
I don't think, well, first I'll say, I wouldn't think that there is an ideal business. I think that there is, we look for founders. What we're looking for is talent. We're looking for, like, when we talk about like, what is our top things, it's always team. So we're looking for founders who are smart and, but have a good idea. They've identified a problem and they know that problem well. And they've identified a target market that problem will be a solution for, or their company will be a solution for. And so for us, it's looking for people who have that combination. So it's a combination of all those pieces. It's not necessarily this business is, above all others. It's first the founder, that team that's come together to try to work on this problem for that piece. The second part is then after we've gotten a really good team, because the idea is going to pivot. And that's something that we see. That's when I'm doing traditional investing or when I'm in accelerator investing, it doesn't matter. The idea pivots based on the market, based on partners, all that kind of stuff. So you want an idea of where the market plays, like how big it can get and things like that. Then you're really looking at the solution, and then you're looking at the idea, because the idea is going to keep changing as well. Like they could use those same assets and solve something completely different. So, but first up front, it's definitely us looking for our founders, and we're looking for strong founders. Now, I would say for Detroit in particular, we are industry agnostic, but some of my other counterparts, the other MDs, they've got, and I think Chicago's industry agnostic in Miami, but then I think like DC has like 4 or 5 like health tech and gov tech and a couple different places. And I know Atlanta is creator economy, e-commerce, things like that, consumer. So each MD is looking for different things. We each have autonomy on how we want to invest. But within those areas, within those verticals, it really is about like meeting people, using opportunities like this, kind of ask questions and get a feel for people, and then hopefully keep pushing down the line of application to see if there's a good fit.
Our second question is kind of like a follow-up to that, asking about what are the prerequisites that you would like companies and founders to have prior to applying to Techstars, and then what stage should the company be in?
I can speak for Detroit in that we're early stage. So some folks in my last class that I had some companies who had earned 500K and some companies who had earned 0. I had some companies who had raised $1 million, some companies who had raised 0. For me, it's really, there's not really one specific blueprint. It really is about, it's a common, and that's why these moments of investing is a relationship-based business. And so it is these moments of establishing relationships and having comms and having a chance to talk to each other, which you get a feel for people and you get a feel for where they are. And I think that's across the board on all Techstars accelerators, is we're looking for really good founders who can move a company forward. Some kind of focus a little bit earlier, some a little bit later, but we're early stage. We're early stage investors, so it's a lot of different variations on, should you have an MVP, a minimal viable product? Should you have, sales? Like, some don't care, some don't. For me, I'm open. I'm just really looking for a strong combination.
Talk about how important that mentorship piece really is. I mean, we talk about this all the time. African-American women are leading when it comes to small businesses.
Yeah.
But then when we look at other numbers, when we talk about the investment, when we talk about the know-how in the background, many times people started because they're like, I got to do something else. I got to do something different because what I've been doing isn't working. So we leap because we know that we want to be in business. But a lot of times we don't have mentorships or anyone that's helping us.
You would rather know that you're solving the right problem than going down the road of solving the wrong problem. Like, you don't want to, you don't want to be 2 years down the road still trying to make something work. And mentorship is the easiest way to get out of that cycle, because people want to, be motivated, and they want to keep pushing for, their dream and their vision of how this can be solved. But it could be just one conversation where they'll be like, well, did you consider the fact that these consumers age out at 18? Or did you consider the fact that this market has a maximum cycles of purchase 2 or 3 times in 5 years? Did you, like, those kind of things can come from experience, and then that saves you tons of time. And I think that's the biggest thing about accelerators, and why I like investing on this side of the world, is because accelerators are all about kind of, especially mentorship driven models like ours, is really all about how can we focus on making people not have to make the same mistakes that 3,000 founders before them already did. Their lived experience of having been in these different rooms and been in these different conversations and hearing different things, all it takes is just like 1 or 2 comments to help you think differently about something. And so they always say, like, you'll do in 3 months what it might take another company 2 to 3 years to do. So we're accelerating. So we're accelerating you by applying all that knowledge, we're tearing apart your financials, we're tearing apart your operations, but we're building it back up. We're building it back up stronger and on a platform that is robust and is built off of multiple founders' experiences, not just, yours or one or your circle of folks. It's a broad piece. The network is the power. The network is the key.
There's another question in there. I thought I saw it. Okay. Go ahead, Renita.
No, you can read that question.
Do you have to be located in one of the cities that you mentioned? This comes from Fix Your Finances, one of our loyal.
Yeah. Hey, Antoinette.
No, you don't. I'm recruiting globally, and all of the other cities are recruiting globally as well. My last class cycle, I had 4 companies come from overseas. I had 4 come from out of state, and then about 4 or 5 that were in the same state as where we hosted the program. And then I also, these next cycles, mine included, several of them are remote first, meaning the first few weeks are live and in person. We're doing mass mentor meetings, mass things like that, getting a chance for people to get acclimated, but then there'll be a huge virtual component, and then people coming back together at the end for demo days and investor meetings and things like that. So it's not a requirement that you come or that we're recruiting from any of these specific cities. But what it is we think that these cities are going to give us the biggest draw, and it's the network and the ecosystems in these cities that are going to be able to support these founders to be successful.
You know what I have a question about often? So, and I heard a founder talk about this before that completely added to my own internal conversation when I talk to business owners, right? So there are a lot of programs that help business owners start and grow and scale. But when you think about the entire ecosystem, the entire process, are you guys also helping people exit companies as well?
That's where the Techstars for Life comes in. Is like, you're not gonna, like, sometimes companies do exit, you know, during
and it doesn't have to be for a bad reason.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's just a better profit, or sometimes this person wants to get into a different business.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's part of the process. It's like, I'd rather help you by introducing you to another marketplace, another software marketplace player who exited their business and is now, you know, or publicly traded or did a merger or whatever. I'd rather them give you some intel rather than have you go the road on your own. And that's a huge part of like the network, and especially a huge part of like what happens after the 3 months is like, this is hard. Like like everybody says it's hard. Everybody says they think they know how hard it is, but no, like hard work. And it's so many ups and downs, and it's a million no's before you get to the yeses. No matter how great of a company you are, it's so many no's. And so that process of getting to exit, and that process of getting to, you know, some sort of really positive financial position doesn't usually come without, I would say blood shorn, but I don't know if I can say that. But it doesn't usually come without blood being shed. Like there's you know, things happen. And so the process of getting there is that much easier when you can follow the paths and the models of what other people have already done.
Wow.
Good to know.
I want to do a small roll call for those who may be. I was just kind of looking up like the top cities for Black businesses. So let us know whether you're in any of these cities. We got ATL, Montgomery, Alabama, Memphis, Tennessee, Washington, D.C., Durham, Savannah, Georgia, Baton Rouge, Baltimore, Richmond. These are just some of the places. Anybody in here from Miami, I knew Raleigh, New Orleans, love New Orleans. These are some places. If you're in these different cities, you're in a good place, especially for Black businesses. And some of these were on the list of where you are doing the program with JP Morgan. What are some of, you know, you've dealt with so many different businesses and founders. Yeah. Just maybe a couple of tidbits on what's the biggest thing that you want to tell after doing this, that you want to tell people who really want to move ahead in their business, that you see tripping up people a lot?
Good question.
That's a really good question. I think the biggest things for coming is not understanding volume. And the fact anybody who's in this space, whether they're an investor, whether they're leading an accelerator, whether there's some combination in between, their volume is massive. And so I think some people unfortunately easily get discouraged when like they're cold outreaching to folks and they're not getting access. You know, they're not getting immediate access. It's volume. I can tell you any given day I have couple dozen at least people sending me decks that I've never met before in my life. And if I spent all day just managing my messages, I couldn't, not only could I not do my job, but I couldn't help my companies that I'm tasked with helping. And so I think that one of the easiest misconceptions is that somehow if they can't get an immediate response, or if they can't get, you know, immediate feedback, that that's a no on their business, or that's a no on their idea. But it's not that. It's just it's volume. And I would say, just being really honest, me being a Black female and a Black investor, I'm usually the only Black investor that most people that I meet have ever seen or ever met. You know, like or the first. I should say I'm one of the first that they've seen or that they have a chance to talk to. And so they also take it doubly personally when, and I've gotten this from my other peers in the space. They take it doubly personally, like, oh, she didn't like my idea. No, you sent me a 20 email, and I did not have time. Your 20-page email, but
I get it. I get it.
Got
Volume.
time for that.
That's totally get it.
I think
it's a program.
Yeah, like it's
elevator pitch it, you know.
Yeah. But I think when we think about businesses, it's like people do have amazing ideas, and they think that they have to have money in order to launch their businesses. And I will tell you, some of the most amazing ideas that have launched big and had, you know, multi-million-dollar, you know, successes really didn't have money up front to pay for a developer, or didn't have money up front, like, and they definitely didn't have friends and family around.
What did they have? Because you're talking to like most of the people. Monica, what do we need to have?
Right.
Yeah, so like a friends and family round is like ideally you're getting like 20 or 50K or even 100K from someone.
Okay.
Most people don't know someone who can give them 20 or 50K. But what I always tell people is, do you know 20 people who can give you $500? Or do you know, do you know 50 people who give you $100? You can use that to get a prototype built. You know, it's all about hustle then. It's all about like So maybe you don't have the money to front it all up front, but is your hustle enough that you can get 20 folks around you? Or the other thing is like pitch competitions. So many folks I know have raised and continue to raise non-dilutive funding the whole way by doing pitch competitions, winning 10,000, 20,000, 500, not massive amounts, but definitely enough to launch their business. And I think the same thing on the other side of folks who don't have network. Most of the things, and especially and this is how I got involved with Techstars 10 years ago, is I first started doing stuff with them in their community side of their programming. And so I would go to all these markets and HBCUs and different places and just try to introduce people to venture and introduce people to innovation and try to help them see the parts that I saw. But all that was free, open access and open to the public. And so it's really about there's a hustle aspect in here and I think we all know there's a wide dearth, and that's partially why this program is happening. There's a wide dearth on funding for Black and Brown founders. We know that, but I also know that there's a ton of free resources and moments out there that can get you some of the knowledge and make you feel more confident and get you that access to get in the room. But it does take hustle. If you don't have the resources out the gate, it does take a lot of hustle. But even when folks have all the resources, that's the other thing. Even when they have all the resources lined up, they still get no's. And so that's what people need to know. This is a hard business. But the other side of it is so amazing. The other side of it, when you see people who started a company from zero on an Excel spreadsheet, and you see them raise have a $50 million company, and they've created generational wealth for them and their families. That's an amazing thing. It's a heady thing to be a part of. And it's a tribe of folks who believe in this and believe in innovation and believe in opportunity and believe that their idea is going to be the next Instagram or the next big thing. I'm passionate about that. I'm passionate about kind of bringing all those resources in the mix and people getting a chance to experience them.
Wow. There's so much we could quote you on. I'm just
Absolutely.
I'm going to make that into a quote. Okay. Monica, you are awesome. Your spirit is amazing. We want to thank you for coming on and talking about what this partnership. We want everyone to go to techstars.com, and we put it down below. Find out more about this partnership with JP Morgan. $80 million in diverse entrepreneurs and founders. Get a mentor, get in their program. Like Monica said, you can start from zero, but you got to hustle. And then you can see that portfolio just grow, but you need organizations and companies like this behind you that can, like she said, shave off years, do in 3 months what it took companies to do in 3 years. Renita?
I think that's actually a great place to close it. What I wanted to say is that right when you were talking about, Monica, that a lot of people, they might get no's and they might have all their ducks aligned, right? But the ones that are successful kept going, right? So keep going, of course. And maybe Techstars or another accelerator will help you along the way, because there's definitely enough out there. Last year, Black founders got about, Black founders received just 1.2% of U.S. venture capital funding, and Black women received a small portion of that, right? Was it 0.1%? But as many people come on this show saying, there's money all around for businesses. So I would encourage everybody to keep going. And discover, in the theme of the whole day, your mood that you're going to have forever. I want to give you the last word, Monica. Do you have any last words here to say?
I do. I just want to thank you guys for having me. I also want to encourage the audience to join us next week. We have the Inside a Techstars Accelerator event. It's on the techstars.com website. We're going to be going into depth on what it's like to be inside Techstars Accelerator, the application process, and then we'll have breakout rooms for 5 cities. Really would hope as many people can join us as possible. But I'm just a fan of you all. I'm watching you guys and learning some of the stuff that the people that you've had interviewed. So super glad to be on here and looking forward to just future collaborations and opportunities. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to our audience. Whatever mood, the choo-choos begin. Make sure it's a good one. Make sure you have a good weekend. Go back, binge watch this. Listen to what Monica said. I'm going to go to techstars.com and binge read. And I'm going to be on on whatever you put on, Monica. I thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye, ladies.